A warm welcome to Sunrise. It's been, some people will call it a slow month. The month of January is usually that slow, but some people have been saying that, wow, the month is almost over. And I say, well, maybe it's a new year. Maybe that's what 2026 brings. And a lot of people have said this 2026 will be the best year for them, the best to come. And of course, we're going to be seeing a lot of activities as well, because it's what? It's an election year. So if you think you've been seeing a lot of politicians before, get ready, you're going to see a lot more. You know, we've been seeing parties like the All Progressives Congress lately doing their APC registration, saying things like, you have to be a digital member of the party, which is the next level, really. They're doing digital things. And of course, the other camps, most of the other parties, we have a party like the PDP trying to sort out the internal wranglings. And you have parties like the ADC aligning, realigning, and realigning again. So it's going to be a very interesting year for a lot of things, for Nigerians, for the nation's economy, and a whole lot of that. Well, did I forget to mention my name? Joke Rogers. That was intentional, really. And with me, as he comes up slowly, is...
My name is Ayo Makinde. Good morning, and thank you very much for being here this morning. You've heard all the oration from Joke. I think we can just go to the menu.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if I can add a thing or two, I find it interesting when you talk about the election year. First thing that came to my mind was we're always talking about, whenever we are talking about elections, most of the time, 60–70% of the time, we're talking about the federal government.
Yeah.
And all the opposition parties are saying removing, the president from the office is the only way to save Nigeria. I've heard that since 2003.
Yeah.
If we don't remove this president, Nigeria is going to collapse.
And I've never seen Nigeria collapse.
And that president will get a second term.
Yes.
And then on and on and on and on. I'm like, okay, what you going to do differently? And what's interesting is all the people who are talking. I don't know if you must have listened to former Governor Fayose as well, saying there is no presidential candidate in any of the political parties other than maybe, Peter Obi for one reason or the other. But, at the end of the day, we have just one nation for us.
Yes.
Let's not just keep our eyes on just the president.
Yeah.
Governors and local government administrations collect
here you go again.
between 1 and 2 trillion every month.
You're out for the governors and the local government.
We the people.
We should be out for them.
Yes.
Yes, and you hear the people say, ask, even the president has said it, ask your people questions. Don't look at me. I've given you the leeway. They are the ones in charge to not look at me. Ask your governors questions. Ask your local government chairman questions. Ask your councillors questions. They're the ones that are in charge of whatever development should be coming your way. Yeah. They're in charge. They're in charge of hospitals. They're in charge of schools. Some of the internal.
How many people know that?
Yeah, a lot of people.
That's your abattoir where you buy meat is your local government chairman. The street lights on your street.
Oh, that should be on your streets. That should
be on your street. In fact, there are some roads.
Yes.
That we hear them say federal road, state road. There are local government roads. Are you aware of that?
Are you? Are you?
So there are local government roads, and many people don't even know. So now they get a lot more money, and the president has also warned. If you people that are talking to the governors, the APC governors, if you guys don't hurry up, I'm just being understanding. If you guys don't hurry up, I will use my executive power. I have the yam and the knife. I did wait for that one.
And I hear a governor, like, I think it was a Delta State governor that was talking the other day, saying, me, I don't hide. He said, yes, they have given us money, and I'm utilizing it, I'm building infrastructure. I will not hide. He was saying it the other day. Say, I'm not hiding it. Yes, we have more funds, and we're using it. Don't let your governors deceive you. The money is here. The Delta State governor was saying it. The money, yes, now the money is here. We're utilizing it. Don't let anyone deceive you. We have more funds for more infrastructure.
And I also find it interesting. For some reason, over the past 24 hours, I was just on like 2 or 3 of these social short video platforms. And I was just seeing people post different videos of roads. One posted the Sokoto-Lagos road. One posted the Lagos-Calabar highway. Yeah. And I'm like, and in fact, one of them said, look, I don't like this president. I don't like him at all, but I like this work. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, and then I saw the way they were building the road, not just with bitumen, the way we knew it. I saw they were actually building concrete, you know, like the way you build a decking for a house.
You know that the Minister of Works is an engineer.
An engineer. So
he says that things will be done differently, and we have to have roads that are
durable.
One
of them measured the thickness of the road. Said he doesn't believe it. And these are just communities, hinterlands. These roads pass through communities. I mean, back end of the town communities that these roads are passing through. So no government, federal, state, or local, has any reason, any excuse to not perform.
Yes.
Because now the roads are opening up.
Yes.
Anyway, by the way, something else that is already riling people up, has been riling people up since November or thereabout, or is it June? The tax reforms.
Okay. Yes, we talked about that last week.
Yes, we talked. It hasn't ended. Well, no, although the questioner is, you know, about the tax guidelines. You know, well, be comforted. Mr. Oyedele, the chairman of the Presidential Tax Reform Committee, says the issuance of guidelines for implementing the new tax laws has been delayed due to uncertainty over the final gazetted version. So that's confusion is still having its way. But I want to believe that as soon as that is resolved, that shouldn't really be much of a problem.
No, it shouldn't. And then during the week, Rivers. Oh, has Rivers ever been out of the news? It's consistently in the news. Now the House of Assembly has said that they are going ahead with impeachment proceedings against the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu. And then they've gone ahead to ask the chief judge of the state to open investigations against him, you know, gross misconduct, allegations and all that.
Interesting.
But then there's a court order too that says those things should stop. Hold it.
Hold it.
What have you? So Rivers will be in the news for a long time. Let's see how all these things end, and whether they can mend fences. So
long as they are politicians, I'm going to keep them where they belong. By the way, congratulations. Nigeria has been delisted from that financial high-risk nation listing.
Yeah, I think it was Europe that delisted.
Yes. Yeah. You know, the question now is, what next?
Yeah, well, we have to work towards being permanently off the lists.
Okay.
Really, I think that should be the next thing. We should be off that list and just, you know, see how it goes, because a lot of people have opened their eyes and they see that Nigeria is not as bad a country as many people think. And then you know that now with this Trump saga, a lot of governments of the world are realigning. You see China and Canada renewing their once horrible friendship.
I find it, now that you mentioned Trump, something interesting that I read, someone shared with me some time ago, about Donald Trump saying that China is a very united country on his Truth Social. People don't like to admit it, but that in China you don't argue. So one vote, you only vote for the president. You know, but in America, what do we have? People are always doing the well. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. But let's
serve you with our menu this morning. Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts. It's our first conversation. Where we're coming from and where we are.
And then we'll be looking at curbing indiscriminate waste disposal. Yes. We should curb it.
Measles, rubella vaccination rollout.
Oh.
How is that going? And how effective has it been?
Can you see that thing on your screen about lifestyle this morning? Gentle parenting.
Yes.
Don't beat the child. Someone said he's not African. I don't know. But we'll find out more about that one
And
later.
then we'll have our artist of the week much later towards the end of the program.
And let's just say he's a human being,
Yeah.
not a dog. I'll be right back. So do us a favor.
Yes, certainly.
Do yourself a favor. Grab your cup of cocoa,
Or cocoa.
or water, or coffee, like some people, and we'll be right
I'm
back.
sticking to cocoa for now.
Oh, really?
And I'm sure you do remember that some time ago, President Bola Tinubu made the pronouncement that anyone carrying arms, by any name you call it, bandit, kidnapper, criminal, armed robber, whatever, everybody is named a terrorist. And by that, the security forces will act to treat them as such that all this nonsense criminality, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, will be gone. There was a time, I think about a month or two ago, there was a lot of scare across the country, especially because kidnappings were now happening as close, let me say as close by as Kwara and in parts of Ogun State. Even parts of Lagos, we hear of those things, and people got scared. Over the years, the Nigerian troops have been battling insurgency in the northern parts of the country, and we had schools attacked, children kidnapped, especially girls. Even boys also were attacked by Boko Haram terrorists and ISIS-affiliated groups, splinter groups, or what have you. So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. How effective has our counter-insurgency operations been? And what are the things that we've done in the past that we should keep doing? What are the things we've done in the past that we should shelve and change? How better should our security architecture be? Are we really winning, as the security forces say that we are? All those questions will be answered this morning. Well, there will be an attempt to answer them as best as possible. And in the studios with us today, we have Oyiwo Ogini, a senior researcher at the Bonn International Center for Conflict Studies. He joins us virtually. Thank you for joining us today. We also have a retired Major General Cecil Esehaigbe. He's a security expert. He also joins us this morning. And we also have consulting specialist, African Resource Development Center, Adebayo Oluwake, who also joins us this morning. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Let me start by the way that I made the introductions. Mr. Ogini, in your years of research, in the areas of security and development issues, how would you assess our fight against insurgency? It's been, a long time, over a decade that we've been having this problem. What would you say to the fight against insurgency in Nigeria, and how the way at which we're carrying it out?
Thank you very much for having me this morning. I think it's what we've been discussing over and over a long period of time. As you just rightly mentioned, over 15 years that we've been dealing with the maintenance of security issue in Nigeria. What from my assessment, from the soft campaign by the non-state armed group up to the extent of infiltrating to expand their network and become so strong to the extent that they are possessing some weapons like armed drone and others to the extent they are advancing their technology. I think it's a reflection to say that they continue to change irrespective of approach that is adopted by the government. In terms of kinetic approach, which has to do much more with the military on the boot on the ground, of course, there are times when the momentum was very high and the morale also among the security forces was very high, and they were able to take this battle to the armed group, whether ISWAP or JAS in the northwest, or Lakrawa, Jinim affiliated, Al-Qaeda affiliated in the northwest, or the emergence one. But what is very important to take note is that while this kinetic approach can be assessed as a temporary measure which send this armed group off the balance, I would like to say that it's not sufficient, and that's why we keep seeing that whenever there's a military operation somewhere, it crop up elsewhere, another dimension crop up elsewhere. From banditry, transformation from banditry into jihadist insurgency from the northwest and also from the north central, as you can see. So these are the dynamics that are unfolding. So I think what is important to note is that as much as we want to have boots on the ground to tackle this, the non-kinetic approach, which has to do with a strong community reduction strategy, violence reduction strategy, alongside with strengthening local capacity, are things that we are still battling with, and that is why the resurgence of this violence will continue for a short time, as long as that has not been addressed.
Okay, let me still stay with you. You talked about non-kinetic approach. Very recently, we had the Katsina State government do like a swap program where about 70 bandits were, there's a proposal to free them, or if they've been freed. Do you think that this is part of a non-kinetic program, or this kind of approach is the right approach to use when dealing with this sort of criminality in the northwestern part of the country?
Yeah, thank you very much again. I think I said this before. I was in Katsina in the field, and I actually see also a kind of various negotiation taking place, not just only with the state government, even at the local level. So there are these party sort of negotiation taking place. What is not, going wrong is the fact that we have more than 150 different armed groups present in the northwest. So if you negotiate with one group, another group come in. And from our research and constant investigation, what we observe is that these bandits, they actually use that to buy time to infiltrate into the community, to recruit more, and that continues. I can give you an instance from 2 local governments in Katsina where such negotiation take place at the low-level politics and medium-level politics, which enable them to be able to operate. The agreement was just that we will not attack your area, but we can attack other areas. So in such instances, we do not contain the violence in the reality. So, and that's why it becomes very difficult to, if you are negotiating with somebody, you negotiate with somebody who have the organization structure, which you can identify that this is the only area they cover, and you know that they have control over other subordinates. And this is not the case with bandits. So it becomes very complicated, and it can even make it worse somewhere. I can tell you, for example, in the case of Sokoto and Kebbi, when I was in Sokoto last time in Tangaza, where U.S. strike took place, and then from the other side, you can see that the bandits operating at the fringe of Sokoto, which actually is result from the Samfara side before the Lakrawa issue came in, you can see also there's some sort of negotiation at the low level, but that does not prevent them from operating and expanding their focus in those areas, especially in the Ilela area, the Tangasa side, before Lakrawa came into that side. And now we have also in Arugugun and the other side in Kebbi State.
Right. Yeah, thanks. Mr. Oluwake, if I can bring you in here. We've talked about, the underlying issues. Do we have Mr. Oluwake with us?
Maybe not just yet. Let's take on the general.
Yeah.
General, one of the things that must really interest you is the position of the U.S. in Nigeria that seems to have some kind of philosophical change. I say that in respect of the fact that the U.S. has committed some $413 million counterinsurgency resources through AFRICOM into Nigeria and West Africa. How do you, what's your perception of that? On the one hand, the U.S. was saying they were going to come in guns a-blazing, and now they're supporting Nigeria's security initiatives. What are your thoughts, General? General, we can't hear you. Could you kindly unmute, please?
Okay, can you hear me now, Ayo?
Much better. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Yes, in strategic partnership, a lot of calculations come to play. For instance, the U.S. intervention in the 25th of December, has its own, ups and downs. For example, the positive side is that, it has sent a message to the complex emergent groups that, look, there are some serious consideration and some efforts are coming in internationally, to assist Nigeria in tackling the menace. Also, this is that it boosts the morale of the Nigerian troops who have a sagging morale because of, the surge in conflict and the attendant consequences. So, on the other hand, it has to also be properly managed because some people look at sovereignty and also look at the framing of the President of America's language that they are targeting a group of ISIS workers who are anti-Christians or who are targeting Christians. So there must be proper conceptual definitions to understand. And don't understand, let me also make it clear that it takes a lot of logistic planning for another country to come into Nigeria to be able to strike these insurgents. You need a lot of intelligence sharing. You need coordination between the host country and the intervening country. So some of these things are very difficult. And it also has a tolling effect on the intervening country. So there are many other ways which they can support, apart from coming to strike, the targets and all that. One is intelligence sharing. Two, support with equipment. Three, some other financial aid to aid the Nigerian government and its military in this serious attempt to contain the security menace.
Right. So let me continue from that. We talked about, I'm still addressing you, General. What issues do you think should be expanded and dealt with now that the U.S. has softened its stance and is ready to collaborate and partner with Nigeria to address these security issues? Suddenly, we don't hear of the fact that it's a Christian genocide anymore, but that is a general insecurity matter that refuses to go away no matter how hard the country is fighting. So what are the broader issues do you think that we should be looking at and dealing with? And I'm asking that from the fact that you have years of experience being in the military.
Yes, number one is strategic communication. First of all, knowing the problem and defining it as it is. For example, when you listen to Trump, President Trump saying that these ISWAP or these insurgent groups are targeting Christians, there is need for the government of Nigeria to correct that impression that these insurgents target both Muslim and Christians. So we must isolate the religious connotation so that we'll be able to have a concerted effort in tackling the insecurity. Two, we must be able to win the confidence and trust of the populace, letting them understand that the assistance that is coming in from foreign countries is to help to fight, and that securing their lives and their property is more important than other ethnic consideration. Three, the government must also let the citizens know that these people are coming in for strategic partnership, not that they are not able to do what they are supposed to do. So these are communications that need to be strategically, put forward, so that there will be no, issue of, people defining the concept in their own terms, bringing in ethnic consideration, and also talking of sovereignty when you do not have, the real substance of what sovereignty is supposed to be. Like I said in this studio for many times, that once this thing is getting out of your hands, there is no shame in asking for external support, because all you want is for you to be able to secure your country. It doesn't downplay your sovereignty, but there is a strategic partnership. So all we need to get on board to work together with willing partners for us to have a success story in these complex emergencies.
Right. Mr. Aloake, I believe you can hear me now. The General talked about communication and what have you, and winning the confidence and trust of the populace. We do know that in time past, we've talked about how these kidnappers and these terrorists infiltrate communities. Some even promise them protection from other attackers if they work with them, also if they allow them to live amongst them. So to what extent is Nigeria addressing the underlying socio-economic issues such as poverty and unemployment? Because this is one of the ways the terrorists infiltrate the people. They cash in on the fact that they don't have much education, they're unemployed, they don't have food on their tables, and so they make a lot of promises to them. If you do this, we'll do this for you.
Thank you. I believe that the general population in Nigeria would agree that we have governance challenges. Some are structural. I think most of them are just because we are not making enough effort to correct those governance challenges. We also have what you call ungoverned spaces. We have so much ungoverned space, which allows for infiltration by opportunist groups. And as we have seen, we have had all these insurgents. I think for me, we should just be frank and just label these groups as insurgents in order to properly categorize the application of force that will be delivered, to dealing with the problem. And so we know what we are dealing with. So these ungoverned spaces are easily filled up. And the worrisome part is that we not only have ungoverned spaces across the vast expanse of our borders, we also have ungoverned spaces even in our cities. If I give you an example, if you look in some parts of Lagos, you hardly see the police. And I'm going to address that shortly. You hardly see the police. Area boys have taken over everywhere. If you go to Lagos Island, most part of Lagos Island, you are going to have to surrender to the dictates of area boys. We are allowing some parts of our territory to become ungoverned spaces, not just in these far distant places, but even within cities. This has to be addressed. The state must enforce its authority. The state must impose a complete sovereign will. And when you do that, you are now going to be able to effectively address governance gaps. If local government chairmen are not in their local government, if all they do is collect allocation and disappear, you are going to have challenges in the areas where the local governments are supposed to exercise full authority. So I think that to address the economic and socio-economic challenges, the state must first enforce its full sovereignty and dominate its entire geopolitical area. So in addition to dealing with the economic challenges that create for opportunists to recruit insurgents, to indoctrinate them and to unleash them on society, I think we also need to do certain things. Permit me to cite the unfortunate Nigerian Civil War, but there's something I want to bring out. During the Nigerian Civil War, the Biafran side and the Nigerian side were very effective in mobilizing the population. Both sides mobilized their population effectively behind the war effort. You would those old enough would remember that on the Nigerian side there was a slogan: to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. I have not seen I don't know whether it's the Ministry of Information or the Social Mobilization Department of that ministry, throughout the better part of this counter-insurgency effort, mobilizing the entire nation behind this operation. There's nothing like that. And that sometimes will make you, and even some of our foreign partners, to consider whether we are actually serious. Secondly, we trained mobile police force, which was set up by the first Prime Minister, Tafawa Balewa, to deal with riots. Okay? Now, the mobile police force gets very good training, not just to deal with riots, but to deal with some level of insurgency. We also train from the police what we call the terrorism units. But what happened to them? We posted them out on VIP escort duties, almost 150,000 of them, when we have serious insurgency facing the country. So it's very positive that the president withdrew these police officers and has refused, to change his decision. I think this is a decision in the right direction. The problem now is, how are we redeploying these police officers? I stand to be corrected, but I haven't seen anything, at least in Lagos where I am. What I have seen is, we have seen a lot more police officers on roads, which is good, but how are we using these police officers? This is what the Inspector General has to address, because for me, they must be able to relieve the military in areas where the military has pacified, so that it frees up more troops to face the bulk of the other problems.
It's interesting that my apologies, Mr. Oluwake. It's interesting that you just spoke about relieving the military, because there are those who feel that that even though we are doing our best as a nation to relieve the military, the entire security apparatus is still questionable. Some are saying, for instance, in the wake of the removal or delisting of Nigeria from the counter-terrorism and insurgency, the financial money laundering and terrorism financing list of the EU, there are those who are wondering whether or not, we are doing the necessary, all that is necessary, because financial reforms can earn international approval. But as you noted, security governance at home remains deeply flawed, as evidenced by dependence on military backing, or maybe even external military backing. Now, speaking about that, in that same vein, effective terrorism, we understand, effective counter-terrorism financing frameworks are themselves a governance tool in the fight against insurgency funding. But what is your take on that, perhaps particularly with regard to the fact that now that Nigeria has been delisted and the U.S. is softening its stance against Nigeria, from coming in guns a-blazing to giving us some $413 million along with some other West African countries for anti-terrorism and all of that. Where do you see us going? Do you see us as a nation having the infrastructure, soft or hard infrastructure, to sustain this momentum?
It's a loaded question, but I'll try to respond. First of all, I think what the EU has done is good for us. It's good for the economy. It will further assure those who wish to invest in Nigeria that it is probably an indication that some success is being attained in the fight against insurgency. I think that's, for me, is a major impact, or could be the major impact of that. But like I was saying earlier, we need to do certain things on the ground to also show that we are dealing with this problem seriously. I will address the funding from the US soon, but if you just allow me to quickly finish up, I think we really need to look at the police. I keep harping on this. Because some people feel that because we are going to have state police very soon, if the National Assembly passes the law, we don't have to take care of the federal police anymore. I think that would be very, very wrong thinking. We will still need a very strong federal police. Given our geopolitical territory and especially areas along our international borders, we're also going to need the federal police for interstate crimes, because state police services will not be able to cross into other states to chase criminals. There are many other things. I don't want to waste time on that. But to have this strong federal police, I mentioned police mobile force, I mentioned the anti-terrorism police, the police air wing. I am surprised the Inspector General is not making a case for the police air wing. We have a police air wing. We need to know how many assets in the police air wing are still flying. We need to know the remuneration for pilots in the police air wing, because it's competitive. Piloting is competitive. Can the police retain pilots? And then the police air wing should not be a unit that we see operational only when we have elections. That's when we see police helicopters in the sky. We want to see police helicopters in the sky 24/7, because this will also aid the fight against insurgency. So we need to revamp the police air wing. We need to revamp the police railway command. I have never heard anything about the police railway command. This is a specialized unit of the police that has been trained to provide security in our rail system. We are spending billions of dollars on our rail system. We are not spending money to revamp the police railway command, to retrain the police railway command, and to have more officers in police railway command. And we have seen that terrorists or insurgents have targeted the rail system. So for me, all of these units within the police force have to be addressed effectively. And you will see that it will enhance what the military is doing. Now, coming back to the question of the funding by the US, first of all, I think we need to commend President Trump for this, because he has been cutting off American support for virtually everything. And this has had tremendous impact in the international system, because the US is the largest funder of most of the international organizations and so on and so forth. So you could see the negative impact of that. But nonetheless, he still consented to the Africa Command of the US Armed Forces having $413 million. The challenges, however, are that this money is going to be shared among several states. They didn't mention the states, and they didn't mention how much each country is getting. So Nigeria is not getting all of the $413 million. So for me, that is an issue. Nonetheless, whatever is given is welcome. Just to point out before I end on this, that what the Nigerian government has spent of taxpayers' money in the economy of the US to acquire weapons is far, 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 far more than what the US is giving us. For those who may have forgotten, we bought a squadron of Super Tucano attack aircraft from the US for $650 million of Nigerian taxpayers' money. We spent over $100 million upgrading the weapon systems in the base where the Super Tucanos will be kept. That also went to a US contractor. So that's about $750 million US. We have also spent $600 million acquiring the AH-1Z Viper combat helicopters from the US. So in all, we have spent not less than $1.2 billion in the US economy to acquire the Super Tucanos and the AH-1Z Viper. So if the US is going to give us funds to support us, they should give us substantial amounts of money, because taxpayers' money have been spent also in the US economy. So I feel that if we can work on the things we need to do domestically for our police force, for mobilizing our population, and for enhancing the military, personally, I think we have the capacity to deal with this problem.
Okay. Well, General, you must be excited about the fact that Nigeria has spent $1.2 billion, according to Mr. Oluwake. I don't know whether you agree with him. And to also check with you some of the things that you heard Mr. Oluwake talk about, General. So how significant is that? Now, there's also that issue that has been raised in some quarters, that on the one hand, we have an excellently capable military, but then we had to invite an external military backing for one operation. I don't know if that's the only one. No one, maybe the government or whoever wants to confirm that to us. What are your thoughts on that? There are those who think that that kind of thing in a way affected morale, even though that exercise itself has been praised all over the nation.
Well, at this stage, first of all, let me talk about the $1.2 billion that were spent in buying things from the U.S. and, you know, the idea that the U.S. should do more. The truth is that we don't manufacture these items. We have to go buy them from somewhere. And if we are going to buy them from somewhere, it's not going to be our dictates. It is dictated by, you know, the country that is selling to us. When you have foreign assistance or foreign donations or some kind of relationship, it's built by the confidence which the donor has in your country. For instance, in the past, there used to be intelligence sharing when the U.S. African Command was based in Agadez in Chad and in the Niger Republic. So did we manage the intelligence sharing well? So there are some issues that made them withdraw from that partnership. Two, for the fact that we do not manufacture these items, getting these items from outside would depend on a lot of factors. Another one is the humanitarian law aspect of it. You remember that the United States government set to pause on the relationship militarily with Nigeria when the Amnesty International gave out a very damning report about the activities of our troops. I do not remember if there was any strategic communication by Nigeria government to debunk, you know, that story of Amnesty International. That disrupt the confidence level between the United States and Nigeria. So in all of this, there need to be a strategic partnership built on trust and confidence. And how do you build that? There must be, you know, a manifest revelation that you are doing what you are supposed to do. I want to commend him for, you know, giving us a rider into some of these problems that are besetting our country, like that of the issue of police and, you know, the issue of funding them well, and issue like revamping, you know, the moribund infrastructure. Then again, you talk of, people talk of sovereignty, people talk of pride. What is sovereignty when the basic element of human survival are slipping away off your hand? I've said severally, like I said earlier, when this thing is getting out of hand, there is no shame in seeking foreign assistance. But you can agree with me, for the past 15 years, we have been on this counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism issues. Various commanders coming with their ideas. You know, some of them work, some of them did not work. But the way we are, let's not kid ourselves that the morale of our troops need, you know, to be raised. And how do you raise the morale? You raise the morale by a strategic partnership that will help degrade the growing strength and audacity of the insurgents. And I think that one is a welcome development. It's not about sovereignty, it's not about this. But again, back to my dear brother, $1.2 billion is grossly inadequate, you know, to get exactly the kind of weapons and everything you need to do counter-insurgency. Work in progress. With strategic partnership, we can get it right.
Okay.
So let's not get it.
I think at least there is some kind of start, one might say. Dr. Ewa, let me come to you and ask this.
The confidence you need to build is very important. You remember the Lear Act in the United States Congress that says it should ban selling of hardware to Nigeria. These are because of the activities that are happening in Nigeria, which we must first of all put our house in order before we start to do engagement with foreign countries.
Thank you, General. Dr. Guinea, the president, Joker, you know, referenced it earlier, has said, we don't have armed robbers anymore. We don't have bandits anymore. We don't have kidnappers anymore. we don't have insurgents now anymore. We only have terrorists. Whatever, anyone you manifest or demonstrate, you are a terrorist. That narrative, how effective do you see that narrative in the entire space, particularly from your experience? How do you see that narrative helping to address the challenges of terrorism, particularly in the hinterlands that we've had?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the other, Mr. Adebayo and General, you spoke something that I almost stopped you to say, please, can we just argue this? It's very interesting. I would say that the U.S. strike, the U.S. strategic involvement is actually diminishing or declining our sovereignty. Okay, the amount given, whatever hate they give, is a tip of iceberg. In my opinion, I don't care about Trump. I don't care about what he gives. Trump does not help Nigeria. Trump will want to help himself. He wants to help his base. He actually cares about his own political base and conservative region, and that's why all his suppression and all his expression is all about attack against whatever. So let's be very frank about this. The other part where we need to talk about is the part dependency and the paternalistic relationship that exists even in the defense sector. What is it about? How many times are we going to acquire weapons here and there? How are we going to develop our own defense sector so that we are not totally dependent on basic necessity that we really need to get in touch? That can create industry for us ourselves and can also help us, for example, with the rest of Africa to support. It can be source of export if we develop our defense sector and invest in it. I will point this to you. Maybe you can also take care of that. In the next few years, what is happening in Europe is going to happen in most of our territory, whereby non-state armed group will take on drone and go to our airport to harass the government. And many of our local airports will be disrupted because this non-state armed group, they are continually investing in technology and they continue to constitute threat. So just on the look, you're going to see that happening. If care is not taken, if we don't go ahead of them, if we don't invest in our technology, if we don't make use of the young people, invest in them, develop their technology capability, build them together, let them turn this technology and to help to secure our nation. Apologies, Mr. Ayodele, I just want to highlight that in my expression. The second point you mentioned on the aspect of narrative going on that all these actors can be called insurgent, it's a great thing happening. It does have positive part and it does also have negative part. The positive part is most of the places I've visited more than 50 or 100 border regions across wherever Nigeria share border, from the northwest to north central or to the other side. So I can tell you for a fact that it's important to really take this perspective for these people into consideration. And what is important is sometimes where people say they are bandits, community dispute that they are not bandits, they are jihadists. So, and there are issues of that nature. So if taking that position to help us to pose aggressive posture to be able to sustain the momentum will help us, that would be very great. And of course, that policy statement means that we are going back to our policy framework that says we cannot negotiate with jihadists, a group with ideological affiliation. And then that means if that happens at the subnational entity, then there's a cause for alarm. And that's why the Defense Honorable Minister was saying, look, it is not time to negotiate with this guy. So, and that is the guided position which can be sustained momentarily. But there's also caveat there. The caveat there is the fact that when we say we are dealing with insurgents, we are dealing with, we call it terrorists in our framework, or we call it jihadist insurgent, because of their ideological framework. So what I want to say here, the risk is we can overuse the military and then ignore the aspect of policing. And this is the risk. So because banditry, as you can see, it's also the occurrence of banditry and also the proliferation of bandits in this area is a result of lapses in our security architecture is a result of our distance between the policing system at the state and the people, and that's one of the lapses that the kinetic approach cannot address. It has to go more structural, as you rightly said, General, and also Mr. Adebayo. So these are the aspects that we have to look at. So if we call all of them insurgent, it's good momentarily to sustain the momentum, to be able to take the fight. As you can see that both in Kwara, both in Kogi, both in the northwest, both in the northeast, you could see the momentum right now, and our servicemen are really pushing so hard at the moment. So this is the point that I would like to highlight.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ogini. Very, very quickly before we wrap it all up, Mr. Lowake and General, you want to react to what Dr. Ogini said earlier? Mr. Lowake, you go first.
I mean, for me, the only thing I will add is that there has to be coordination between the federal and state government.
No, just a moment. What he talked about, when he was talking about the military, about us being independent in terms of our own equipment, manufacturing our own equipment, that we are over-dependent on defense infrastructure from other nations.
I think it's a valid point, but I also think that we have seen some efforts to address that, even if they are not yet of the magnitude that we need. You have Proforce manufacturing armored personnel carriers, even MRAPs. We have the Army manufacturing the Zugu MRAP. These things are coming. They may not be in sufficient numbers for now, but we are making efforts. And I think there are policy issues now, policy changes to strengthen the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria to be able to, and I think they have a partnership with, I don't know if it's South Korea or which country, but I can see that there are already policy changes in this direction. The unfortunate thing is that, you know, we need these things like yesterday, and these efforts we are making now will take some time. I think this is being addressed, and I have to say that there's no country in the world, I'm not unaware of the fact that, you know, you don't, even countries that manufacture weapons, they still buy from other places. You know, that doesn't mean we shouldn't make efforts to you know, strengthen our own capabilities.
I'll come back to you, shortly, Mr. Lowake. But let me quickly take the reaction of General on that same subject matter. General, what are your thoughts? General, if you are speaking, we can't hear you. Kindly unmute. You are still muted, General. Okay, we still can't hear you, but we'll definitely come back to you. So let's begin to wind down now, gentlemen. Mr. Lowake, you were going to talk about the necessary coordination between the federal and state governments. My concern is about the people. Do you think we have our eyes on the people enough? General has repeated his concerns about strategic communication. It's all about engaging the people. How well are we doing in engaging the communities, which are naturally mostly affected by these terrorism activities?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, General, yes, we can hear you now. Very quickly.
Okay. All right. The issue of too much dependence on foreign powers, I think Lowake tried to talk about it. You see, it's a policy issue. We have to re-emphasize our research and development efforts. And like he said, there is no country that has it all. Even in the defense industry complex, you see when you are manufacturing aircraft and ship, there are products that you have to also get from other countries in the manufacturing process. So we are not depending so much, but you don't give what you don't have. So all we need to do is to, encourage research and development efforts and put our policy trust on self-sufficiency. And we are, like he said, we are manufacturing some level of weapons. But what you cannot get on the shelf is technology. And I don't think we are ripe enough to say we will have the technological know-how, to put the leverage technology has in complex operations.
Okay.
So
thank you very much,
we need
General.
strategic partnership
Yes.
with all nations that are willing to do business with us.
Yes. All right, so we're winding down now. 1 minute to go around the room. Mr. Luake, you go first about the last question I asked you.
Yeah, I think the federal and state governments must coordinate properly. What I mean by this is, if the federal government is taking a particular position, say, for instance, we are not negotiating, then we don't want to see states going to negotiate. It sends a very wrong signal, both domestically and internationally. And I don't want to mention the state. Recently, there was another issue like that, and maybe it turned out to be a rumor, but it actually went viral. So that coordination is important. Second level of coordination with our neighboring countries. When the multinational joint task force was really working, when Niger, we had all this excellent relationship and everything, we could see the impact that these insurgents were really, really degraded and contained, But I think some of the political changes that have occurred recently in those Sahel states has had some effect on us, And that's why I believe we need to really go back and work, and coordinate with them. And if we can convince the foreign partners, we need to let them understand that they may not agree politically with the alliance of Sahel states, but it is in our interest in West Africa for those states to succeed in their counter-insurgency effort. Because if they fail, it's going to affect us. I think I'll stop there.
All right, thank you. Dr. Ogini?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I agree with what Mr. Oluwake said. I think it's important because from my work experience, if you know when the U.S. actually strike happened on 25th, before that period, a large number of Lakrawa group already moved to Niger. So the Nigerian government had to say, look, we have to beef up security, we have to mobilize people on the other side of the border. So before that happened, so eventually the strike happened, but it was not actually massively like the target is as much as it is. So what does that really mean is that we have to strengthen this regional collaboration. We have to work with the people in the border community. At the same time, one point I want to mention is that when this strike happened, it happened, for example, there was debris in Jabo, which is about 50 to 70 kilometers from Sokoto. Those farmland, the people there, were they compensated? How did the government treat that? Because counter-insurgency have ripple events. And one of the ripple events is it can radicalize the local population, and the armed group use them as a source of recruitment from our work. We've seen that many times.
Okay.
I think this is very important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. General, your last words on this issue.
Yes, I think I'm impressed now with the concerted effort of the federal government, in the area of recruitment of troops, purchase of equipment, and there's also, a very, good level defined interagency cooperations. These are, ingredients for operational success. Then the issue of negotiation. I don't think if the federal government presents a policy, no subnational government should be overzealous to do its own. More so, they don't even have what it takes to do negotiation. Negotiation is a strategic content. They don't have the technical know-how. They don't have even the basic knowledge for negotiation with bandits. And all over the world, it's not an idea to negotiate with bandits because you only get some money from you and go back to reinforce the purchase of weapons and equipment. So the federal government should continue in enhancing the operational efficiency of the armed forces and the police, and look for better partnership with foreign countries who are willing to help us. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to get out of the woods.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen, for weighing in on Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts. A robust conversation, I must say. Oyewo Ogini, senior researcher at the Bonn International Center for Conflict Studies. Thank you so much for your time. Mr. Adebayo Oluwake, consulting specialist, African Resource Development Center. I must thank you for your time as well as retired Major General Cecil Ese Haigbe. Thank you also for your time on the program this morning. Ayo, robust discussion, I must say.
Absolutely.
And of course, Sunrise will continue in just a moment. We'll be looking at yet another big issue. curbing indiscriminate waste disposal, and just come back and join us again, and we'll be seeing how you've been faring in your community and how you have been complying with all the rules and regulations of waste disposal, or have you not? See you in a bit.
Next is to talk about what Joke said earlier, curbing indiscriminate waste disposal. Now, Nigeria's refuse disposal situation is quite dire. And I find that very, very funny because we have heard from every government around that waste disposal is money. That, you know, when you recycle, you know, stuff like that, it is a lot of money. And we have seen videos about all of that. So I'm wondering, why exactly is it that we're having a hard time getting that right? Because the country generates around 32 million metric tons of waste annually, and only about 20 to 30% are collected. The lack of proper waste management infrastructure, inadequate enforcement of regulations, and limited public awareness contribute to the problem, which is why we're here. And these concerns are more prevalent in cities like Lagos, Abuja, Owerri, Ijebu-Ode. They face their significant challenges. For those of you in Lagos, maybe you have an idea of what we're talking about. So I don't know if you have your take in Ijebu-Ode or different parts of the country. When I saw this script, okay, my mind went straight to Kano or Abuja, you know, and all of that. And one is wondering exactly how we deal with all of these issues. Anyway, we have two gentlemen to have this conversation with us this morning. Olare Sonya is Commissioner for the Environment in Ogun State. He joins us virtually. Thank you for joining us this morning. As well as, yes, as well as Mr. Muyiwa Agbadegeshin, who is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LOMA. He's with us in the studio. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Waste collection, sir. It's me.
Okay.
First of all, what is is it the problem of collection, or the problem of disposal, the problem of gathering? What exactly, in your opinion, is the problem, from your experience? I know you work with Lagos State, but this is a Nigeria conversation.
Well, you know, when it comes to waste management, traditionally, we've treated waste management in Nigeria as a linear process, starting with collection, transport, processing, and finally disposal. And traditionally, we've been disposing by burying the waste in dump sites. In Nigeria, we don't have a single sanitary landfill. So what we have are open dump sites and then burrow pits into which we've been piling the waste for decades. The challenge is how to move to a circular economy, which is the only way that we can unlock that wealth that people have been talking about. A lot of our experts, and even the average man on the street, understands that there's supposed to be something called waste to wealth, but they're yet to see it. The challenge is that we must make the necessary investments in the infrastructure to unlock this waste to wealth. Well, what do I mean by infrastructure? We talked about collection. If you're going to collect waste in an efficient manner and turn it into wealth, it's better for you to have separate containers for the different types of waste, which are in demand by various off-takers. What do I mean by that? You have within your waste, if you examine your waste, you see that you have plastics like PET bottles. You also have other types of plastics like nylon. You have paper and cardboard. You have glass. And then you have organic waste, which in Nigeria is typically about 50% of all your waste is organic. Every single one of these items that I've mentioned I didn't mention metals like aluminum cans. They're in high demand as raw materials for various industrial activities, not just in Nigeria, even abroad. I received an email this morning from someone in the US asking that can they partner with us to export some of our raw materials. So how do we separate out this waste and then channel it to the appropriate end user or off-taker instead of dumping it on the roadside or instead of burying it in the landfill? That's a challenge. Now, to make those investments, you must spend money. It's a business. So on the part of the government, and it's not just Lagos, I can speak for Lagos State government, we are putting a lot of things into place to make these investments attractive to investors. But I'm aware that many other states are doing the same as well. So it's a movement that's ongoing. And I think for members of the public, there are ways that they should also embrace this, because most of the opportunities will result in direct benefit to residents in terms of incentives.
It comes first to communication. We spoke about communication earlier as well. It comes back to how government, communicates. We'll come back to you on that one. Well, Mr. Oresanya, you have also been in the saddle here in Lagos before, but the question then would be, why do we have refuse mountains in different parts of the country? And you may want to first of all share your experience in Ogun State. How are those things done? Because at the end of the day, the important thing here is, if we don't do it right, if we don't dispose right, collect right, and treat right, it comes back to the people, doesn't it?
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me. Let me start by appreciating Dr. Badigashin there for the yeoman's job you're doing in Lagos. I've been on that seat before, so I can imagine what you're going through. So, well done. Now, to go back to your question, why do we still have waste all over? Then I'll zero it to how we be managing ourselves in Ogun State. Let me start by being generic. All right. Every problem is a potential prospect. We're looking at waste now as a problem, but as a prospect. There's a business prospect right in there. So the question is, we're not getting the economic template, the business template. We're not getting it right. Okay, we see problem there, but there's a business behind that problem which we are not getting right. And why are we not getting it right? It's because it's a measure of our social value as a people, not just government, as a people. Until we are able to relate this waste management to our health issues, until we're able to relate it, then we'll be able to tweak our social values in that direction. So I will be able to pay better attention as a people who will demand the same service from the government when it comes to doing these things. So it depends on how much are we deploying to this sector, and measure it, compare it with cities all over the world that will go there and we see them as very clean. Look at the budgetary allocation. How much are they allocating to clean their environment? How much are we allocating to clean our environment? Then the business template that can run it, let's look at it. Now, I think that's just sent another agenda for discussion.
Just a second, on that same issue, isn't it also a function of how we communicate it, even to governments? Among governments, officials and government agencies. Maybe I should come to you on that, Dr. Badigashin. Maybe it's the challenge of how we communicate it. If you don't tell anyone, for instance, if you don't tell your colleagues in government, for instance, that, hey, we are losing business here, we're losing potential taxes here, this is the quantum of money that come into government, that can come into government coffers here, we're going to continue to treat it the way we were treating agriculture before. Just hoe and cutlass. Now it's agribusiness. So same thing for this waste disposal thing.
Oh yeah, but we do have a lot of communication about this across all the different sectors. We have a lot of recycling activity going on in Lagos, both by small-scale recyclers. We used to call them scavengers. We don't call them scavengers anymore. We call them urban miners, because many of them are adding value by collecting PET bottles, for example. If you go around Lagos, you rarely see PET bottles lying around because they're going there. It's an informal activity, but we allow them within certain regulations. And then we have other categories who are aggregators, and these are typically young entrepreneurs, and we license them. And they're also, a lot of them are doing quite well and making money in that sector. And then we have more established recycling companies who have built plants, that are able to take thousands of kilograms of PET bottles a day and convert them into other uses. In fact, we also have entrepreneurs who have established organic waste processing facilities. There's one now in Ekpe, just opened up last year, which is able to take 500 kilograms of food waste every day. And we're now assisting them to take food waste from hotels, restaurants, and other food establishments, which they are now using to produce compost and biofertilizer. And last year, we had a series of stakeholder forums for the business community that's generating different types of waste. We had one for the construction industry, because we have a construction waste program. And we had one for the food processing industry, because like I said, we have this new processing options. And so what we do is we go around and meet with various stakeholders, even with the markets around Lagos. Some of them are now giving us their bulk organic waste that we can use for processing. So it's a continuous process of stakeholder engagement. We don't sit in the office. We go out and sometimes we actually, we have to push people to make these investments. And there's a lot of interest, and I believe we're making good progress.
Well, my apologies, Jola. Mr. Oresanya, I don't know if you want to quickly respond to that as well. It's perhaps the function of how we communicate it to our colleagues in government to let them see the potential, the opportunity, the prospect that you're talking about, and how much is behind it.
Well, communication is a two-way thing. It's born out of knowledge and your capacity to receive even that knowledge. That knowledge about what to do is not lacking. If you don't have it locally, we have it globally, all right? And that knowledge is there. But then, what's our capacity to assimilate even this? And our capacity is a function of our value. Okay, if I'm preaching to you about some things that you don't have value for, you can't analyze it, and you can't push it through, all right? Knowing what to do is not a rocket science, but committing to it is the key issue. How much of it are we committed to it? How much of a fund are we committed? How much is the electorate asking those of us who are in government about, look, before I vote you in, this thing must be my life. Let's attach our quality of life to our waste, the way we manage our waste in our city. And I'm sure I can tell you, by the time we're able to look at it, that look, what we spend on curative medicine, if we take a fraction of it into preventive healthcare program, then we'll be better for it. I mean, waste management is a preventive healthcare program. So we need to be able to look at this in the right context. So it's not a matter of whether the knowledge is not available. Knowledge is available. Now communicating it, all right, and taking it up frontally, yes, is the issue. Let's commit to it. Let's deploy resources to it. And I can tell you then, get the right economic template, the business template. This is business, I can tell you. But government must be able to de-risk that business for the investors to make profit. It is not government that will make profit, naira and kobo, from waste management. Government's job is to de-risk it, all right? I must be committed to de-risking that kind of investment so that people can benefit from it. Benefit in form of, one, clean environment, two, more work to do. You can create huge number of jobs. You heard Dr. Badigaji talking about the jobs they've created, but these are just the tip of the iceberg. This thing should go national. It's a national thing. So waste management itself, we will get it right at the right level. It's a major instrument that can do a social reform, okay, social re-engineering program, where you can have more people doing this job, and government can de-risk it by investing for people to be able to have tools to do the job. So that at the end of the day, when people see cleaner environment, we can pride ourselves as the people. We can tell anybody anywhere in the world, come to Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the cleanest country in the world. That should be our pride. If we have our mind set at that, we can get it.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Oresanya. So if I come back to you, I want to take you back to that communication issue and the waste wealth initiative. And it's commendable that we have, different cadres of entrepreneurial businesses coming out of this. But what about the individuals? For instance, if I want to be the one to be collecting my PET bottles and submitting it, and I want to make a naira or two from it, how do I go about it? The people, the small businesses know about it, they're doing it, but what about, individual families? Like, for instance, I have bags of plastic water bottles that we consume in our home, and wrap it up in the black bin bag, and there's a lady that comes around and that picks up those bags. And I can imagine how much she's made from that, which is good. I like to help people. But what if individuals want to be a part of it, individual families, like I want to be the one to take this in, or I want to be the one to say, oh, the entrepreneurs, they're coming up to collect it, and there's a point where I will get paid for, and I think it was booming one time. I don't see them come around anymore. So how do individual families or individuals participate in this waste to wealth thing, especially with the, those PET bottles and other things that you can actually submit for recycling? Yes,
so individuals can participate by signing up with recyclers, like WeCyclers is one example. There are also so many others that they go to different estates and communities, and they give incentives directly. And on the part of Lagos Waste Management Authority, we've also started a program of weekly collections. We started from our facility in Simpson, Lagos Island, on Thursdays. We go out into the community, ringing a bell with megaphone, and ask people to bring out their PET bottles, and we give them money in exchange. Now, to make it easier for residents, this year we're going to divide the state into zones and then have companies that can manage those zones entirely. And then they must come to you and enable you to register, so you can let them know when you have the PET bottles. And mind you, it's not just PET bottles we're talking about.
Right,
glass,
I understand.
anything.
Yeah.
And they come and collect. I use WeCyclers in my home. And the easiest way right now, before we roll out the big program, is for you to reach out to us on our free phone line, 070 80 60 10 20, and we'll connect you to a recycling company.
Who does one ask for on that line?
Just tell them what you need. You have PET bottles, you want to start recycling.
Is it just PET bottles, cans?
Anything that you have, and they will connect you.
Right.
You can also send email to info@lawma, LAWMA, .gov.ng.
Right.
And I should mention that we have a pilot running in Lekki Phase 1 that we call Waste-Free Lekki. Yeah. And we're in partnership with the Lekki Residents Association. We're bringing in reverse vending machines. So we have 2 parks that Lagos State government has built on locations that we reclaimed that are being used for indiscriminate waste disposal. Right. So we've built little eco parks there so that the people in the community can stroll, go there, have a little bit of fun, and then you can put their PET bottles into the machine and collect money with the card, with the cowrie card, the same one that you use for transport. I want to install these at all the new train stations as well. We're working with Food and Beverage Recyclers Alliance. That's one of the extended producer, in fact, it's the leading extended producer responsibility organization at the national level under the NESRIA Act. We have a law in Nigeria about that mandates producers to take back all these packaging products, whether it's paper or cardboard. They must make investments in doing that. So through them, we want to install reverse vending machines and collection points at bus stations, at train stations, so that it's easier for people, instead of tossing it into the drainage, put it into the machine and you can get some money that you can use to ride the bus.
Interesting. Well, Mr. Rezaya, let me ask you this one. What we are talking about is curbing indiscriminate waste disposal. There is waste disposal, there is waste collection, there is waste recycling, and that's the business part that you're talking about. Now, speaking about the disposal part, I assume that that responsibility is that of the residents, which Dr. Gbadigeshi, spoke to the other time, saying that you have to, you have to collect them differently. So help educate us about how to go about that sanely and sustainably. In some environments in Lagos, for instance, I'm sure you're aware, it probably happens in Ogun State as well. We have degradable, dustbin for degradable stuff and then one for non-degradables. But when the refuse disposal people come to collect, they put everything in the same bucket. So help us understand what exactly is going on here.
Well, thank you for that question. Well, the waste management chain is what we just described. It starts from storage, collection, transportation, disposal, and recycling, and back to source. So it's a circle, it's a waste management circle. Now, storage, which you are describing now, yes, the effectiveness of your waste collection starts with proper storage. You must be able to store the waste properly and to make convenient for collectors to come and collect it. Now, sorting at source is good, but the first thing that must be done before you start going further into sorting at source is effective collection. If I know that my waste collector comes 10 a.m. every Saturday, I don't need to blink. There's a level of precision that run with that schedule that tells me every 10 a.m. on Saturday, the waste collector must be at the doorstep, and that brings integrity. Once you're able to do that, sorting at source is a function of value addition, all right? And I'm sure there's a program called the Blue Box program where I'm sure Lagos State too started it sometimes. Maybe Dr. Badiga, you can speak to that, whether they continue. But in Ogun State, yes, in some organized estates in Ogun State, we've started also, where you sort at source because there's a value for it. Not that there's a law that compels you to do it, but when you sort, there are aggregators that come to the place to come and pick this waste, and there's a voucher they give you because you have already removed what is recoverable, what has value from the waste, and you're able to separate them, and you get a voucher or you get something that will give you an incentive to continue to do it. So it must be incentivized rather than compelling, all right? If there's a sanction in some other climes, there's a sanction that your waste has not been collected because it's not been separated. But in this part of the world, I don't think we are at that level where we start sanctioning you for not separating your waste, unless we have provided you with the bin to sort it. In those clients where you sanction them, the government must have provided, or the locality must have provided you with the bin to separate. So if you don't separate, then it becomes a crime, it becomes a law, they criminalize it for you. But in this case, where we have not really provided this separating bin for people, you don't criminalize it, you rather incentivize it. We give incentive when you sort it, you get some voucher, you get some discount, and you get some payment. So next time when we come, it will reduce what goes to the dump site. It will reduce so it makes waste collection to be meaningful because collection itself has been very efficient. So we're still at the point where we need to improve on our collection efficiency. And that is what concerns the average person on the street, in the community. I want my waste to be moved at the right time, and the waste must move. So we need to work in that regard. And looking at that too, like I tell you that there's a business case to that. When I know I can recover my money that at a particular time, I can project for what is going to come to me as an investor in that area. Why can't I invest? Why can I invest? Why must I use my money? I mean, the business must be bankable. So the bank can give you money, get a vehicle that is reliable enough to make sure that efficiency of collection is guaranteed. I don't know if I can stop at this level.
Absolutely.
Mr. Bangladesh, I think we should all go and register individual companies to to be a part of this. I say I'm a waste collector for myself. But you know, he's made very valid points, and one of our viewers, Festus Aki Boyewa, you know, says unlawful dumping of waste on roadsides and in open spaces is a criminal offense. Sadly, many people in Nigeria are ignorant of this fact. Awareness and robust enforcement action would significantly reduce this problem. In the UK, for example, illegally depositing waste can attract fines of up to £1,000, even for a single bag of rubbish.
That's 1.9 million naira.
That's to confront the problem. You know, so, you know, Mr. Oresanya...
Just to be clear, I'm sorry, Joke. Just to be clear. Yeah. Interestingly, just to let the viewer also know, Lagos State government has a law against illegal dumping of or littering of refuse, and an attractive fine of up to 250,000 naira or a jail term.
Yeah.
Guess how much it is in Ogun State?
How much?
Up to 2 million naira.
Wow.
Or 3 months. Mr. Aresa, is that not correct?
Correct.
Great. So if that be the case, Mr. Aresa pointed to the fact that, you know, we've not started doing it in Nigeria, but that they should supply the bins for separation of waste, right? That separation is one thing, but supplying the bins to be able to have your waste collected is another thing. A lot of people do makeshift bins. We have to buy our own bins to be able to put in our waste. And yet again, some people really would not like to buy those bins at all and just dump their waste illegally on the road. And we still see, even with all these fines and all these penalties in place, you still see waste in the middle of the expressway, on the median, or wherever people see to dump it, they put it there. Why is this? Why can't we just, you know, enforce this no dumping of waste illegally?
Well, we are enforcing it. Last year, 2025, we detected about 1,037 waste-related infractions. Out of that, we prosecuted 447 at the Environmental Offences Court in Oshodi. Most of them were fined, but some are serving jail terms. In fact, we caught someone in December, just before the Christmas, who took an SUV to Tinubu Square and was dumping, his boot was filled with waste, and he was dumping it at such, you know, this beautiful historic location. He's currently serving a 13-month jail sentence. He started serving before Christmas. And we have several enforcement teams that go around with cameras, hidden cameras. And it's not just about hidden cameras. When we see waste, we try to see what is inside that waste, to trace it to the source. And that way we've been able to seal a lot of big establishments, businesses. And they pay more fines. Some of them pay up to 5 million, 2 million, when we've discovered that they are dumping illegally, including outlets like nightclubs, who go and dump tons of bottles, glass bottles, which actually have high value in the market. So yeah, Lagos has ramped up in enforcement. Now, in the issue of collection and bins, Lagos State has a program for that. Mr. Oresanya, who was my predecessor in Loma and also a mentor, he had started out the Blue Box program, and we launched it, and we've continued that. Right now, we have about 80,000 bins, a combination of green bins for general waste and the blue bins. That's what we call the Blue Box.
How do we get that?
For commingled waste. It's not free.
Yeah, well,
But there's a
nothing is-
payment
I'll make
plan.
money from it.
We have a payment plan
Yeah.
so that you can pay over about 2-3 years. But what we're doing, because 80,000 is a drop in the bucket for a city with 4 million households, we are doing a lot of reform to the waste management system this year. There's a lot I can't talk about because we're still, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But just to give you an overview, what we want to put in place is that we'll give you the bin, and then we'll add to your bill a small amount every month until you pay it off.
Okay.
And so that system will, a large number of Lagosians will be able to have access to those.
Now, we received this message from a special consultant with the House of Representatives who says that they have pushed the Nigerian Recycling Regulation Agency bill to second reading in the House of Reps, and that they'd like to offer supports to key stakeholders like the two of you on our program this morning. So you'll probably have to expect that fellow's call. But let me ask you this one, Mr. Oresanya. Our studio is very, very close to Ogun State. In fact, right across us is our street is a border street. And but on the way into the studio, particularly around Kara, there's that very, very unpleasant sight. Even the median that's just being constructed, when it rains, water stores. Even now, as we speak, there's some water, but more importantly, there's just, and the water doesn't have anywhere it escapes into. And the median is almost always against the design, almost always full of debris and all of that. And that's just one. Under the Kara Bridge is another. But there's a new bus stop coming up. I don't know whether it is legal. It is right there. So would you kindly make a commitment to see this? Or maybe there is an explanation that we're not aware of.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's the local problem for me. And we can talk about Kara round and round and round, but I think you'll agree with me. The nucleus, the source of that problem, there's a market. That illegal market that we have there, the cattle market. Until when we move that cattle market out of that place, that problem will continue. But we're not relenting. This has been discussed with the governor, and the governor is committed to relocating that market. That has been discussed with the market owners. We made several efforts, and I'm not going to relent on that. And let me still make a commitment that, yes, we still have enough time in government to ensure that we complete that, either we relocate or we organize that place properly, fence up that market, and or we relocate that market. Once we relocate that market, we're going to have peace in that area. We have a lot of people who don't have homes. They sleep under that bridge. If I arrest all of them, where will I put them? They are Nigerians. I can't tell them not to come around. So they don't have homes. They sleep, they defecate around there. We have toilets that we build there, 6 public toilets around that area. But you see arrest these people who tell you that, look, by nature, they enjoy doing their thing outside there because you just feel that, look, it must still be outside, not in an enclosed environment.
Let's just hope that...
We contain a lot of social problems there.
Let's just hope that you'll be able to...
degradation of the environment in our community.
Yeah, let's just hope that you'll be able to do the needful, because the image it gives to the state is one, it's a bit troubling. How about the median?
Well, it's the same thing. Overnight, some of these debris still found their way, all right, onto the median. Don't forget, this is a market waste. These are not people, you can't talk about recycling to people like that. What's recycling to them? They're not ready to recycle anything. Most of the things they generate are really organics. Debris from cattle trucks that bring all these cattle from the northern part of Nigeria. Half of the...
No, Mr. Oresanya, I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding. There's a median
on the expressway.
Along the expressway. That's just that's now when you get out of our studio now, you have to make a U-turn to go back to Lagos, where Dr. Gbadigeshin has to do that this morning. That median, is landlocked, so to speak. Water stays in there, debris stays in there against the design. So is there any plan around that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That median, the design itself, did not take into consideration the kind of social and economic activity around that area.
Okay.
It's like an open space. You still have these people who come and dump refuse in the middle of the road. Now, that median itself is hollow. It can accommodate refuse. Now, collecting refuse from that median is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
We've had accidents. We've lost about 2 staff cleaning the road there, park their truck to evacuate refuse from that median. And just last month, we still lost a staff collecting refuse debris from that median. Now, the other thing is to prevent it, all right? Prevent people from dumping. Right now, you go there, I have people who were paid, especially from that community, who stay there to police that place, to prevent people from coming to dump refuse or coming to defecate in the middle of the road. So it's a major, major problem. Now, the exit for the water there, I'm going to work with the Federal Ministry of Works. Maybe we need to cover completely, have a kind of a makeshift covering for the slab, make a slab on top of that thing there, because the structure that we put in place will determine how we function.
Absolutely.
So we need to improve on the structure there to discourage people from even coming to defecate or dump refuse in the middle of the road.
Absolutely.
The contractors did a good job by doing their construction, but it's devoid of the social problem around that area, the social challenge we are facing. So that structure is not helping us to be able to maintain that kind of social problem.
Let's just trust that, you know, the federal government and Ogun State government will have a conversation about this, because at the end of the day, it's just the two governments, right?
I need to catch your very last thoughts. We're actually out of time, but there seems to be a shortage of collection trucks in Lagos. I think there was that problem some time ago. Has it been resolved, or what are we doing about it?
There is a shortage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Lagos is big, 27 million, and it's always rapidly growing.
And they reduce their frequency of trips, so...
And yes, so we've had, because of the volume of waste and the limited disposal sites, and this is why recycling and circular economy is such a urgent assignment. We have, anytime we have issues at the landfill sites, like when it rains, it becomes difficult to access. There's a ripple effect, so that there are delays for the collection. But what we're going to get new trucks this year. We're going to support the PSP operators to get new trucks as well. Loma will also get new trucks. But in the meantime, we don't want people, my final word, whatever the case, do not take your waste to the median. You can reach out to Loma. I would have given my own line because I get so many complaints that I won't do that today. Because anytime I've done that, it's a different kind of calls that you get. Just call our toll-free line, 070 80 60 10 20. There's also a second one, 08 00 00 52962. If you have any issues with delayed collection, reach out to Loma and we'll resolve it within 24 to 48 hours. I'm putting myself on the spot. Don't take your waste to the median. You don't want that in Lagos. That is not the system. Right. Sign up with your PSP operator. Pay your waste bill on time, because they're running businesses which are very expensive to maintain. But whatever the case, if you are a proud Lagosian, please do not take your waste to the media.
Right, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Dr. Muyiwa Gbaligeshin is Managing Director and CEO, Lagos State Waste Management Authority, Loma. We appreciate your time and perspectives, as well as Mr. Ola Oresanya, Commissioner for the Environment in Ogun State. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take Dr. Gbaligeshin up on that issue of Olusosun. Maybe
so
many other issues. Now, when we return, we are going in the health tangent for a bit. To stay with us.
Welcome back to the program. We said we're going to go on the health tangent. Well, that's Ayo that said that, not me. But we're talking health, and a very important aspect of it, because it deals from, from the babies up to a certain point in age, especially for girls, I believe. Nigeria rolled out the major integrated vaccination campaign. That's measles, rubella vaccination. Introduced the new combined measles rubella vaccine, replacing the old measles only vaccine, targeting over 100 million children aged 9 months to 14 years to combat this deadly disease and prevent congenital disabilities from rubella. This large-scale effort combines MR vaccination. I have to look at this so that I get all the information right. Prevent congenital disabilities from rubella. The large-scale effort combines MR vaccination with polio, HPV shots launched by the First Lady in October 2025 with phased rollouts across northern Nigeria. This will commence in southern states this January if it hasn't started already. Lagos State Primary Healthcare Board is set to introduce the measles rubella vaccine into its routine immunization program January 27th, right, to 2026. Aims to protect children against measles and rubella, strengthening their immunity and all that. And we have to talk about that in the House this morning. Dr. Adetola Akinpelu, Immunization Program Coordinator for Lagos State. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about this.
Good morning, and thank you.
Yes, and we also have Dr. Folashade Fadari, Member, Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, again, Lagos State Chapter. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Right. So, many years ago, over 40 years ago, I had this rubella vaccination, I think when I was in my first year of secondary school in the United Kingdom. And then, in Nigeria, I hear about rubella again. And I'm thinking, as I got older, that, it must be a very important vaccination, So why is it so important, this particular vaccination? Let me start with you.
Okay, thank you very much. As you know, the campaign is about measles and rubella.
Yeah.
Measles infection, many of us, we know that it's a deadly, highly contagious infection amongst children.
Yeah.
And by the time you will even detect that a child has measles, almost everybody in that area has been exposed.
Yeah.
It starts with high fever, cough, catarrh, which you don't think it is any problem. So by the time you see rashes, you say, oh, don't come to school again. Whereas all the cohorts had been exposed. That is measles. And we have been having measles vaccine for over 20, 30 years since we started the expanded program on immunization. So it has been on routine immunization. That is, every child by 9 months, they have measles vaccination. And everybody knows that once you have that measles vaccination, you are protected from measles infection, which is a viral infection that is very deadly and can cause a lot of disability, like deafness, blindness. Now, what is rubella? Rubella is a viral infection too. However, it's a mild one. It causes mild rash, mild fever, and it doesn't have that high potential of making people think it is something. But for a woman that is just pregnant, which is common that, okay, this woman have a 2 or 3 year old and is now pregnant for the next one. If that woman in the first trimester come in contact with a child that have rubella infection, the unborn child has a risk of having what we call congenital rubella syndrome.
Wow.
And that's how does congenital rubella syndrome present? You just see she had a child and there is a hole in the heart. How come hole? She has a child and the child cannot see, born blind. She has a child that is deaf, which most people, they will say, he can hear, he cannot hear. Many people don't know that the child has been born congenitally deaf from rubella that the mother came in contact with when she was pregnant. And how does a pregnant, she may not even know. You know, in the early stage of pregnancy, women will have fever, they have weakness, they don't want to eat. And so when she even have this rubella infection, she thinks it's malaria. And people around you, they say it's a malaria. You know, you call it anything, but you do not know this woman unknowingly have come in contact with rubella infection. So we are now adding rubella vaccine to the measles vaccine that we are already aware of, that we've been taking for years. So now we will now be having measles, rubella vaccine going forward. But before we start having this under our routine immunization, the country have decided to have a campaign. They already had that of the north. So now we are coming to the south with Lagos.
I was going to ask if they were similar, and I think you have in a way, answered that the measles and rubella, they have some kind of co-relationship. Well, Dr. Akinpelu, the interesting thing here is, I mean, it's scary enough what she said about the pregnant
Yes,
woman.
certainly.
You know, the child just coming in contact without sin, just becoming blind, becoming deaf, having a hole in the heart and all of those things. Is there even a way to prevent that for the pregnant woman in particular?
For rubella infection,
Yes.
one of the things that vaccines do, and that's where we're coming into that's where the conversation is going into, vaccination. For the pregnant woman, the easiest way to prevent her from getting this rubella infection is to take away the carrier, which is the child that would get infected with this rubella virus and shed and pass the virus around. So the whole aim is this: you protect the children, you indirectly have protected the mother from getting rubella. So that's where the whole discussion on herd immunity comes into play. Just like we do with measles, the more you protect children against measles infection, the lesser the chances of you having outbreaks of measles in the States. The lesser the chances of you seeing children with complications related with measles. It's the same thing with polio. Once you can create the herd immunity, the resultant effect is that you stop seeing people limping in the community due to polio.
Okay, just a quick one. How serious are these measles and rubella issue in Nigeria? And you just told us about the risks of not vaccinating the children. Are there stats you can share with us of outbreaks that show urgency?
As of 2024 in Nigeria, we've had quite a number of measles infection, and we're looking at as much as over 100,000, and we're talking of confirmed cases. In fact, around the world, globally, it used to be around 8 million, give or take, and this was about 2020, 2021. But of course, we could see the ripple effect of the pandemic, where we had disruption in access to routine health care like vaccinations and things. And there was a global surge in these measles cases. But you see, the beauty of it is this. In Lagos, 2025, we've not had one single outbreak of measles. And this is as a result of the measles mass campaign that was done in October 2024. So what we're saying is there's an essence why you do vaccination, why you give vaccines, is to ensure that there's a general coverage, there's this widespread protection, and which is where mass campaigns come into. But we also should not forget there's also a place for routine immunization, where the children would go at varying ages to get these vaccines. For measles, for instance, they will come in at 9 months to get the first shot. Then they come in at 15 months to get a booster dose. This is just to ensure that the vaccines that have been given, you've not just given a jab, but you've actually created an immunity process that protects a whole. But why we have campaigns is because the routine immunization process has still not gotten to that level where we can beat our chests and say we have herd immunity.
And when you say like that, the next thing that comes to my mind is vaccine resistance.
Yeah,
Dr. Father, how do we manage vaccine resistance?
Okay. When a child is vaccinated, it's like giving the child a small atom of the real measles, because the measles vaccine contains measles virus. Rubella vaccine contains rubella virus, but it is usually a small quantity to jumpstart reaction in the child. And so when a child is injected, the child had like a fever, some actually even have like a mild rash. And that means the child has developed some immunity against the virus, such that when he sees the virus again, he's able to say, oh, I've seen you before. You cannot conquer me now. That is actually what the virus vaccination is expected to do. But we all know that there are individual reactions. If I take it, the way I will react may be different from how another person will react.
I get that, madam, but the question is about when communities, when people are saying they're not going to take they are resisting the vaccine.
Okay. Now, people resist the vaccine because they don't know the importance. If you know that it is important, you will not say, I will not take it. And I always tell people that over the years, we know that vaccine works and vaccines are safe. And that is why we are here, to let people know. Like I used to tell people, when we were growing up, we used to see people with hunchback. Are we seeing hunchback again? Is it that they disappear? It is as a result of immunization vaccination. BCG, hunchback, is tuberculosis. Many people don't know that hunchback is tuberculosis. But when we started the EPI, expanded program on immunization, and we're giving BCG at birth. So even when one visitor comes in with tuberculosis, the child does not have tuberculosis. And so hunchback over the years has fizzled out. The same thing with polio. By the time we were giving polio, people were, but now, how many people do you see now walks around with limps? Now, as he said, last year, because anytime we do vaccination, we track. Last year, there was no single measles outbreak, which shows that it works. So people that are resisting, they don't know or they don't believe. And that is why we are here, telling them that you don't know what you have. It's unfortunate. If it reverses, it will have been another story.
Yeah. Dr. Kimpelu, what are the arrangements that have been put in place to ensure that no child is left behind, especially in far-to-reach places?
One of the essence of planning for immunization is we look at every variable. So we look at the states as a whole. What is our target population? Where do we find these children? Then we start to map them. We know that we have a huge number of these children in the schools. Where are these schools? We map those schools. The schools that are on these riverine communities, the schools that are in these hard-to-reach communities, they are all mapped out. We also know that we still have children that are out of school. Where do we find them? Religious houses, in the markets, in their communities during the day. So what we do is we have teams, vaccination teams, that will go to schools. We have vaccination teams that will go to religious houses. We also have vaccination teams that have been earmarked to go to these difficult communities. But before they go, we have interactions with them to let them know that on these certain days, we would have teams coming to vaccinate your children. So we're not just jumping at them. The discussions have been ongoing. It's been ongoing for quite a number of months. Because one of the things we also need to get is the buy-in of the community. Public health is community-driven. So we don't do top to bottom. We discuss, we map, and we ensure that every logistic have been put in place to ensure these vaccines get to them.
Okay. So who exactly are being targeted for this vaccine in particular?
For the introductory phase of the measles rubella vaccine, which is where we're doing the mass campaign from the 27th of January, and it's going to run for 10 days. We're looking at vaccinating every child, both male and female, between the ages of 9 months to 14 years. And this is to kickstart this herd immunity process that we want to create. Post-introduction, when it now goes into the routine phase, where these vaccines become available within the healthcare system, the private hospitals, the public health facilities offering routine immunization, it goes back to the routine ages where we give at 9 months and the second booster dose at 15 months for both boys and girls as a routine process of immunization.
Right, and so you talked about the booster dose, 9 and 15 months?
9 months for
9 months
the
for the
first
dose,
15 months for the second dose.
So where does the up to 14 years, where does that come in?
Okay, so when we do mass campaigns, right, like I said, it's this need to create herd immunity. Remember that rubella has not been part of our routine immunization schedule. And one of the things we're looking at, the federal government had looked at is how do we ensure that we give as many persons that can still benefit from this vaccine the opportunity to get at least one dose of the rubella vaccine so that they too can kickstart their own level of protection, which is why looking at the ages where vaccines tend to be most effective in terms of conversion into immunity, it's between the ages of 9 months and 14 years for this rubella vaccine. So this is giving a wide window of opportunity to capture as many persons to this opportunity.
Right. So, Dr. Fadari, you spoke about, different reactions to the vaccinations a while ago. How do you begin to convince, parents and guardians that their children and wards will not have an adverse reaction to the vaccinations, especially we know of measles, but rubella, that's it hasn't been so consistent. How do you convince them that it's safe and that maybe the reaction that the children will have won't be as bad as all that for them to be able to agree to it?
Thank you. We ensure we institute what we call surveillance for adverse events following immunization. And in fact, this has been introduced into every of our primary healthcare activity. So it is not only going to be during this campaign. Every time anybody takes any drug, you will always say, if you notice any untold effects, discontinue and report back. So the same thing we tell all our mothers. When you take this vaccination, to some we tell them, you may see mild fever, you may see this, but if you are not comfortable, feel free to come back. And we have tracked this over the years, and I want to tell you, the vaccine we are giving is safe.
Talking about safety, my apologies, we are running out of time. Sometimes parents want to take their kids for immunization. Next thing, they are giving them paracetamol or any other painkiller, just in lieu
Of the pain.
Of the pain.
We don't encourage caregiver to give paracetamol because, as I told you, whatever we are giving is expected to institute a reaction. By the time you give the paracetamol, you are not allowing yourself or even the caregiver to know that there is a problem. So there may be very serious problem that you have masked because you have given the paracetamol.
Right. Okay.
So we say, please don't give paracetamol. If there is high fever, come back. But I want to tell you, over the years, 2024, we had a mass campaign and we gave measles vaccine. And we tracked adverse event following immunization for 6 weeks post the campaign. I want to tell you, most of the events we recorded are non-serious. Swelling at the site, mild fever, and all that. We never recorded any untoward events.
Right.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Our time is up, unfortunately. Dr. Adetola Akipelu, Immunization Program Coordinator, Lagos State. Thank you for joining us. And Dr. Folashade Fadari, Member Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter. Thank you, Madam, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
We just spoke about parents. We'll talk about them more when we return.
Stay with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for staying with us this morning. For about 3 weeks now, we've been talking about parenting.
And parents.
Yes. Yes. And some people will
leave us alone now.
We are not leaving you alone. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with my child. Yes, I was having a conversation with a friend. I was saying, you know, she's a seamstress. These Gen Zs, they don't even want to work. They just want soft life. I said to her straight up, I said, I'll blame the parents straight up. Because sometimes you wonder, you see them, I don't know whether they are in mosques as well, but you go to church, the children are running riot all over the place, and you're wondering, where is mommy, where is daddy? And no one is...
Where are your parents?
Yes. And then they just climb this place, climb chair, they're just running around all over the place. And the next thing you hear is gentle parenting. So I don't look like an infidel this morning. Let us ask an expert, because we hear that gentle parenting is an approach that emphasizes empathy, respect, and understanding in raising children.
Yes.
Okay?
And creating a nurturing environment.
They say it's about, you heard her, they say it's about creating a safe and
nurturing environment. You nurture.
They talk about anyway, Yunus Ali is with us this morning. She's a family therapist. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Are you a gentle parent or an African parent?
I'm a gentle African
I was
parent.
expecting you to say that. You just fell into my trap. So marry it with culture.
Yeah, because, okay, the thing that we think gentle parenting is based on the analogy you gave in church, where parents just allow their children to run haywire all over the place, almost like there are no boundaries. They're just doing whatever it is that they want. Gen Zs want soft life. I just told Nifemi that I also want soft life this year. So we think that it is, that's what gentle parent is. But it's what she said, creating an environment that helps you nurture an individual, not a child, an individual. Because these children will grow up to be adults. And there has to be the mix of compassion, empathy, and boundaries. Gentle parent doesn't negate that. And I think one of the things that I teach my tribe is this: understand gentle from this acronym, grounded in gratitude. You are grateful that you have this child. explore, don't exploit. Don't think that because you are the adult that you have it all figured out. Ensure that you get to know who this child is, and so that you can lean into their strengths. Navigate, don't negate. What we, quote unquote, African parents were used to is having our problems be our fault. But when you navigate a problem with a child, you create an opportunity for the child to understand what their strengths are, what weaknesses look like, and how to improve upon it. Then we talk about teach and trust, because really, all the shout, all the, hey, this child will kill me and everything, at the end of the day, you'll find that most of us, that our parents were afraid we're going to turn into cults or become troublesome individuals, actually grow up to be well-grounded at the end of the day. So trust the process. Teach, model, but trust the process as well. Then leverage the resources around you. There has been no generation more than ours that has enough resources to do better than the generations before. But we find that people are still stuck in the old mentality. This is the way my parents did it. This is the way my father did it. My great-grandfather did not. But then the question is, did it give you the result that you really want? And then the last one is exhale. Allow yourself to breathe. Don't put yourself in a hyper situation where you feel like, oh, if the child doesn't turn out right, it is all your fault. Yes, Uncle Ayo will say he's going to blame the parent. By the end of the day, most parents do the best that they can.
I'm not saying
we
they
still,
don't do.
We still need to go back to the fact that the society has a lot of noise.
Society is made up of people.
I agree with you.
And people are from families.
I agree
through
with
parents.
You. And that's why we need to do better.
So, for instance,
parents.
I'm sorry, we are talking about waste disposal. Is it a society that puts...
That man that went to dispose it in Novo Square.
I wonder what he was thinking, honestly.
You know, so is that society? And someone will tell me because whatever it is that he was going through stuff. Am I not going through stuff? Oh, you are not going through stuff. You are soft-lifing already. Anyway, now, the challenge that a number of people have raised concerning gentle parenting is that children generally just lack discipline. For instance, go and do something. Why?
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 Or
no.
Go and do something. I remember Larry J. said that he went to his uncle's house, and uncle was telling the child, Titi, come wash the plate. And
Titi was
saying, I'm busy, Dad, I'm making a TikTok video. Baba, yo. Your life will not remain the same.
You will TikTok where you are with the plate.
So that's the fear that some people have in terms of gentle parenting. Is that gentle parenting? And that's just an instance. And it is a reality of many homes.
I tell people that gentle parenting doesn't work until there are boundaries, because the lack of boundaries leads to indulgence.
Yeah.
It's what makes children feel like, oh, well, this is my life, I can do with it whatever I want. But when there are boundaries, you understand responsibility. You understand what roles you are playing. You also understand and affirm that this life is not just yours to live anyhow. It is a gift, and with every gift, there's a responsibility to give others of your strength, right? But you see, it also comes back to the parents themselves in understanding that you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot become a gentle parent in one day just because you read or you listened to me, you read a book or you watched a movie or something. You also have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of me becoming a gentle parent? What kind of children, no, scratch that. What kind of adults do I want my children to become? Because the reason a lot of children are running over their parents is not because the parents don't know that if I give you one very good brain resetting slap, you won't sit up. It is also they are afraid of losing their children to the society. They are afraid of losing their children to the noise out there. So there's the struggle of, oh, if I don't connect, I'll lose this child. But if I connect too much, this child will be indulgent. No. The conversation has to, look, First and foremost, I'm your parent. I love the way Michelle Obama always says it when she was in the White House. She says, I always let the girls know I'm their parent first and foremost. Friendship will come later. And from being a parent is that I would love you unconditionally. But that does not mean that I want to raise you intentionally. I can love you unconditionally, but I would raise you intentionally. Raising you intentionally is knowing that, okay, I know you don't like washing plates, but washing plates is a skill that you have to learn because there is nobody who is a slave to anybody in this house. You don't like waking up early, but waking up early is a skill set of time management, and you have to learn it. And that is what it means that we would do this. We would teach them, we would mold them, we would raise them, but we would also first mold ourselves in the way we want the children to become.
I know Joker has a stack of questions, but my own is this. So a parent, you know, a child is, okay, an aspiring adult, because you don't want to use child now.
Yes.
Okay, is going in a particular direction. We've also heard that they tend to want to test how much indiscipline their parent can take from them. Just start to throw tantrums for no reason. And I like the brain reset slap that you talk about, and it doesn't have to be on the face, it can be on the bum, you know. So how about that? You are trying to tell a child, sit down there, and the child is saying no, you're just trying to just crying and all of those things until that reset happens.
Why do we think that it is that reset that makes the child change the mind? What if just taught the child that violence is the way to go in that scenario?
And if the child doesn't,
so if the child is throwing tantrums, can I sit with the child in that emotion? Can I find an opportunity to say, okay, I know you're angry, let's sit with the anger. Shout below. I mean, haven't you been in a situation where even your day went so bad and you're looking for an opportunity to scream into the pillow? For children, as much as everybody is born with emotions, no one is born with emotional regulation. But children learn emotional regulation from the way parents are. So if my response to a child throwing tantrum is to brain reset with a slap, that means I'm teaching the child that when they grow up, it's okay when the next time when you feel like things are not going your way, punch the wall or punch your boss. That's brain resetting too.
Well, yeah. It's also financially resetting.
But what's the balance, really? We're talking about gentle parenting, but of course there's the other side. Which one works out the best, really? You know, because every parent, even though you want to have your child be nurtured in a nice environment to grow and to do this, there's also that place of setting boundaries. If I say no, it's a no. Yeah. Or maybe this is the reason why you can't have it, or you just say no, I'm saying no just because I can. You know, that's not gentle parenting, that's hard, you know.
That's African parenting.
That's African parenting.
They don't explain.
So what's really the balance? Which one do you consider works best? I know you also said that it depends on the individual child. You look at the child and you see what works best for the child, but really there should be a little bit of gentle parenting and a little bit of hard parenting, because otherwise...
And I keep saying that gentle parenting does not negate firm boundaries. Yeah. I can say no, I mean no. And I can tell you that the reason I'm saying no is this. Now, in African, or let me not say African, in traditional parenting, we are not allowed to question. We are not allowed to ask why. And if you dare ask why, you would understand why with that raised eyebrow your parents will give you like, really? You're asking why? You understand? But in gentle parenting, you allow room for conversations. You allow room for connection. It is that connection that sustains the relationship. So when you're saying no, the child they may slam the door, knock their head, you don't even understand, this, and that. But then they'll come back and say, oh, Mom, thank you for saying no. If I had gone to that party, this and this happened, and I would have gotten into trouble. And then you can have more conversations about that. But if the answer is no, I said no because I dare say no, I'm the mom, I'm the adult, and you are the child, then you're not giving room for them to even express themselves and for you to know the kind of child. And this is why children lie. This is why they betray what we believe is our trust. But we didn't even have that trust in the first place because we didn't engage. We did not have that opportunity to say, tell me why you want to go to the party, or tell me why you believe that this is the best toy for you. After all the numerous choices that you have, give me a reason so that I can know what you want and why you want it. And you're actually raising a child who thinks, not just because, oh, it's a fashion trend or it's the new fad in town, but the child is able to say, well, I want this because it may not make sense to you, but they have thought about it, about the why, before coming to you. And then you cannot present an alternative or a discerning case and say, no, I don't believe that this is good enough reason. But the conversation has started. And that is where gender parenting starts, or where it stays and says, connect first before you correct.
Okay. Question about discipline. You talked about boundaries.
Yeah.
Well, boundaries are meant to be respected. They are also meant to be broken.
Of course.
And when they are broken, there has to be consequences.
Yes, absolutely.
So how do we gently how do we put
the structure in place?
No, how do consequences and gentle work together?
And hold that thought. Part of these consequences, last week we talked about age-appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
When do we begin to measure the consequences of broken boundaries? But when we talk about this person is behaving this way because that's their age, so it's really not about breaking boundaries, but because that's how they expect it to behave at that particular age. So I don't know how we're going to unravel this.
I'll give you a fantastic story. So my daughter, proud to now, she's very used to using my phone. Sometimes she'll pick my phone and say, oh, mommy, grandma is on the phone. And but lately I began to teach her privacy, about the boundaries of privacy, like things that are mine are mine. You have to seek permission.
Yes.
So she's finding it difficult. And I said to her, okay, you know what? Let's have a conversation. If somebody came to your room and picked your toys and scattered your bed, would you be happy? And she says no. I said, that's the same thing that applies to my phone. I know that you've been used to us watching this phone together, but if I don't call you, you don't get to pick up. If I don't say, bring the phone, touch the phone, you don't get to touch it. And she was like, oh, really? But you see, prior to then, if all I had done was to shout and say, how dare you? Did I ask you to talk to my phone? Did I ask you to pick my phone? Da, 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 da. What I've done is to raise up a wall, not a boundary. Yeah. Because I didn't have a conversation with her then. Because she was used, when she was 2 and 3, it was fun for her to speak with my friends on the phone, and we would giggle about it, and it was fun. But now that she's almost 8, there has to be an institution that says, now mommy's privacy, mommy's phone is part of her personal property, and it is a privacy issue. What a lot of parents do with age-appropriate discipline is to go on the whim. We don't even know when to have certain conversations. We just assume that the child should know. You're old enough now.
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't you know that when somebody is knocking on the door, you should be the one to go and open it? Why must I call you to go and do that? But the child never had done that before now, and you didn't have a conversation. So why do you assume that they should know? Yeah. And this is why having things like family meetings that we teach in the Institute of Family Education and Development is very important. Family meetings helps you to know, okay, the people that we were in 2023 is not likely the same people that we are in 2025. A lot of things have changed. In 2023, you're probably worried about TikTok, and now you should be worried about Tinder or something for that child, because you don't know what that child is exposed to. So you need to have conversations, but you can only have conversations when there is a room for connection.
Interesting. So there is this message from Benga Ononuga, Ogbeleto Mamos says, gentility is life, and life is gentility in absolute terms. Therefore, character traits in Nigeria is a reflection of the society in which one grows up. An admixture of life in the present and the past is worthy of emulation. Friends and peer influences matter. Do you agree?
Oh yes, peers are very important for our children. Peers are where they begin to learn more about themselves. And it's also where parents begin to lose their autonomy. It is where and that is where the fear comes in or creeps in for parents, that they begin to fight like this invisible battle of I should be more important than your friends. It shouldn't be a war. It should be an inclusive community, or show me your friends, let me get to know them, right? Let me know how they think. Why are they your friends in the first place? Why do you trust them? This is how you teach trust. This is how you help your children navigate betrayals. This is how you let them understand even their own personal boundaries.
Okay. Lastly, because we're almost done with time, for gentle parent status.
For those who want to start.
Gentle parent 101. Those who have lost the battle, but they want to now reclaim some land. Because you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
How do they take that first step? Because the children are already gone, so to speak. They don't cross border.
Be ready to be weird. I think that's where I always tell them to start from. Be weird. Mommy, can I borrow your car key? Can I borrow your key or your car and go to this? I'm like, what time will you be back? 5 p.m. Okay, can you come back by 4? And the child like, what? That's setting a tone for conversation. Because if you just want to say, well, so I've learned about gentle parenting, I'm going to change, it's still talk. Show first, then have conversation. Be ready to be read. Be ready to pinch yourself when you're about to say no. Be ready to have alternatives at the ready. I can't give you the yellow blouse, but I think the pink will go on this cloth that you want to wear. Do you want to try it out? And the child is like, wow. Really? You know, because then...
Is this the same mommy?
Exactly, because then they are now looking at you like, something is happening with this one. Mommy, are you... One of my clients said,
where's my mommy?
Said, there's something wrong with my mom.
Where's my mom? I can't believe.
That's a conversation starter right there.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's interesting that they always take these matters to mommy. They don't bring it to daddy. Very interesting.
And that should
so let's just leave it there. Let's just leave it there.
Because the next one should be
because that is not
you all made us villains.
No, but you know, there was a little game in my house this morning that when I was coming to work early, they were playing a game. We said, mimic what people in this house say. So my little son said, instead of my husband, I don't repeat myself.
Simple.
I don't repeat myself. And mommy's one was, what are you still doing here? Out the door. It's time for school.
The African father.
No, please, don't leave us. Just leave us the way we are.
Daddy,
we are happy to be villains. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Yunus Ali is a family therapist. We appreciate your time. Now, if you want to take this lecture again, just go to YouTube after the program.
Yes.
It is there. Once again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You see that one of the things that we have done this morning is to open our teeth. We'll have more of that when we return for our Artist of the Week.
Welcome back. And what are we doing now?
Opening our teeth.
I forgot. Opening our teeth, yes. You said so before.
Yes.
How are we doing that?
You have the the knife and the yam.
Yes, so that's we're talking about our artists of the week. I'm sure by the time we'll be talking about we're opening our teeth, some of you who know will have already realized, oh, okay, this is what they're talking about. And so we have with us in the house,
hailing from Abia State, had his primary, secondary, and tertiary education in Lagos. A graduate of history and international relations. Oh, from the, why did you let the bag out of the cat?
Exactly.
Anyway, Chinedu Victor, Joseph Chinedu Victor, popularly known as Open Teeth. Welcome.
Yes, and I think I also need to add to that, and a father.
Oh, and wow. Are you a gentle parent?
You say? I am an African parent, a typical Nigerian parent.
So that you say?
You say, so that gentle is not, that gentle should be out of it.
But honestly, what do you think about gentle parenting?
Gentle parenting.
It's a lot. I think you nurture a child,
yeah.
You listen to the child, allow the child to speak freely, speak their mind so that they won't be timid.
I hope you know you're talking to a comedian.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of things.
That is when your mind is not full, when your head is not full, and
full
like
of
me,
what?
I have all boys. So how can you be gentle when your children is not even gentle on you? so it's more like a goose kind of thing. So you see, that gentle is just out of it for me. Even the mom, even when she tries to be gentle, the boys feel like, Mom, what's going on? You know, so that definition.
Well, you heard the guest say that, you know, if you want to start being a gentle parent, pinch yourself before you say no.
Yes.
Mommy, can I? No. Before you don't even know what it is. I do it to my kids all the time. That once my daughter starts snuggling, Daddy, I said no. I'll just say no first. You don't even. I'm not even asking for anything. Whatever it is, no.
I don't want to sound like I'm just one-sided in this opinion, but the point is, before you would pinch yourself to say no, one or two things would have happened, and before you take that decision to be gentle. In fact, why pinching yourself? They will be asking you, Daddy, why are you pinching yourself? Can you just react? Can you just do something? I remember my son was asking me, and he was like, Dad, I want to follow you to work. Where are you going? Are you going very far? Because that's what I normally used to hold them up. So when they say they want to follow me, I say, I'm going very far. You won't be able to take it 2 hours, because them 2 hours outside or 3 hours, they are just off. You know, they want to go back home. So I tell them, I'm going very far. They say, yeah. I say, okay. So most times when they ask me, I say, I'm going to work, I'm going very far. They say, but you're not putting on uniform. I say, if we are going to school, we are putting on uniform. I say, you're not putting on uniform. I say, no, you're not a good dad. And I would want to pinch myself before I react, but I would like to be gentle.
Where history and international relations, from history and international relations into comedy, how that attack take?
Bros, now for you, you know, this hustling thing for Lagos and Nigeria thing, I think talent differs from, you just need a basic education. Yeah. I just need to go to school, and there's no comedy in school in Nigerian universities. So I chose history and international relations because that's what I love. I love relating with people. So it's kind of helped me to actually relate with people. So when I saw the course, when I wanted to take, because I started from when I finished secondary school, I knew I was going to be a comedian. When I finished,
really?
Yes, I knew I was going to be, because that's just like my person, you know. So I felt, okay, if I can do history and international relations, it helps me to interact with people and relate with people and be more diplomatic, you know. So I think if I'm to marry it, you know, I think that was one of the reasons. And apart from that, bros, I just want to go to school. You know, I just need to go to school. You know, our parents will say, go to school, get your certificate. Well, I know in my mind I'm going to be a joker.
Interesting. So what is it that, how did comedy start for you? You said you always knew you were going to end up professionally as a comedian.
Yes.
How did it start from you?
So I remember when I was in secondary school, I finished from secondary school somewhere in Igondo. And I remember, you know, those days I used to do Jet Club and what was that? Jet. I think Jet is for science class.
Yeah.
So I was in arts class. So where's this? There's one.
Literary and debate.
Is it literary and debate? There's one. I used to forget that name. So I used to be in that club, and I would like to they would just put me forward. So I never knew it was like the MC kind of like you're anchoring it. So that's where it started from. So I would just pick up this thing. I'll just be dissing my mates. I'm like, what? Teacher might be in class or the book. You know, I would just be doing that, and we'll forget about the club. We'll forget about the thing I want to do. I will just be dissing ourselves, and it comes from there. And a friend just like, guy, I think you can pick this up, or guy, you good, or they try you. Anytime we are together, anytime anybody is sad and all of that, we just want to come around you and, you know, you make things happen. So why don't you pick up this comedy and all of that? So it got to name, and as at that time, I broke my teeth when I was in GSS 3. I be one catch ball. I can't go catch the pole. So as a keeper, so I broke my teeth, and my friend was like, "Look at your teeth now. Your teeth is open." So it was actually from the teeth that is open. So I was saying, when they say you have a broken teeth, I said, no, I have a G, you know, like a G kind of. So I know it's open teeth, you know, a G kind of. So that turned it to me making people open their teeth for a living.
Right.
Interesting. Nice.
Oh, well.
How did mommy and daddy take you when you said you wanted to do
comedy? I think my daddy died.
After all the money?
My daddy died when I was in secondary school.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't start. And my mom knew that this guy, you know, is in this kind of a thing. And I think I was so lucky that I started making some money. See, if you won't catch your parents, just give them money.
Oh, good.
She's not listening, so she's dead already. She not here. So what I just did was, I was just like, Mom, you see what I brought to you? See what I do? Like first month, second month, I was making some cool money. So I'm like, Mom, you see what I brought to? Then I was not staying with her. I was staying with my brother. So see what I brought to say, are you, before you know, Mommy, just check this video and all of that. She was like, okay, I knew you were going to do this. And she, Mommy, there's money in it. Is there money in it? So for her, it was just, will it give you money?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So how has it been, you know, since you started? Of course, you said you knew at a very tender age, this is what you want to do, what you wanted to do. So how did you nurture it, even though you studied international relations and all that, and you knew that you were just getting that basic education that you wanted, a backbone to be able to help you navigate, you know, life after university. How did you do a self-nurture? You said your father died when you were young.
Secondary school,
yeah. So, I mean, you needed some kind of guidance and backbone to be able to succeed in whatever it is you wanted to do in life.
Yes.
So how were you able to nurture this childhood dream of yours?
Okay, so I know you will be saying something now, which is counseling. I'm going somewhere now. I want to believe there are so many numbers of young guys that you have talked to, and like, if I had known this when I was in your age, you know, so we're not too open to, you know, people coming to you and telling you some things, you know, we're only open to discipline. Like, they only come to you when you do bad things. Like, don't do this thing is not good and all of that. But you hardly see, those days, you hardly see someone that like, I'm seeing to your future and there's something I'm seeing, there's something you should do this, do it like this, do it like this. It was not the time of internet. Yes, there was internet there, but it was not, we're not too exposed to informations as how we are now. So, but then I knew that I was going to do this, but what helped us then was you just look out for somebody that is up there, the A-list, you know, the guys that started. So you just look up to them and you walk up to them and like, bros, I would like do this thing. So I used to have, I have Sanchez, I have Kofi Daguru, I have some other guys, you know. So I just walk up to them and say, boss, I would like this thing good, you know. I just like join you guys and all of that, you know. So it was more like that. And I was very good at, I'm very good at drama, you know, acting and all of that. So if you see so many musical videos, I featured in it and all of that. So because of that also, people calls me and look, guy, go and do this, Yeah, you're very good, your facial expressions, you know, your TV, you have the TV face and all of that, you know. So I was opportune to do all that. Why? Because I walked up to them and like, I can do this. And when I'm given the opportunity, I actually deliver. So it was more of like mentorship, looking for mentors, and you know, just look anybody that is doing it, that is up there. Like, boss, now waiting myself they do with this, so you they come out, I'll follow you come out too. You know, and that was how we learned how to do weddings, you know, events, even dramas and all of that. All these big names, we are always with them. We just be backstage, you know, helping them to carry something. That was how we learned.
So comedians get apprentice. Don't answer that question.
Yes.
So how's it been? Joker was going to ask you that question. How's it been? When did you go professional, and how has it been since?
Okay, they will say when you go professional is when you had your first paid job. And this is Nigeria, you know, so because your first paid might not be monetary, might not be cash, you know, and there are times you go to some jobs, a very big job, you know, and what you have is handshake, you know, so you might not really know that particular date or that particular time. But the thing is, as time goes on, you know, you just realize that, man, I'm becoming professional. I need to put on suit for this and this. I need to speak this way. I need to now learn how to speak, you know, public speakings and all of that, you know. So I think it was sometimes around year 2000 and year 2005, year 2004, that I started having that consciousness of, guy, you need to make this thing profession. When they ask you, and it was very hard then, when they ask you, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a comedian, you know. So we have to force it to the society that we are comedians. Not now that, you know, people are even, you know, they are proud to see you call yourself a comedian because they think it's just, you know, jokes. So it evolved. It was just from time to time you force yourself, you make people know that this is what you do for a living. You package yourself, you compose yourself. Those days when we are coming for an interview like this, we are always on suits and, you know, we are tying up and all of that, you know. So it's more of a conscious thing. Yeah. You know, we just have to consciously tell people that.
Yeah. In last year, I see that you won Comedian of the Year. I'm not sure which year that was. And you've also done about 600 events across the country and beyond.
Just to mention a few.
Yeah, just to mention a few. So you...
So 600 is a few.
It's a few.
It's okay.
So, you know...
Plus, I also do money devotion events. End of year money devotion. So how many will I count?
So, you know, transiting from when, you know, in secondary school, when your friend said, or I guess it was in secondary school, that you can do this. There's something in it. I think you're funny, you're good with this, and all of that. How did you transit from leaving the protected world, so to speak, of the student environment to transit into the real world where, you know, as a student, you're in school, you have your parents, you have this, but when you're in the real world, after leaving the university, you have to fend for yourself. You have to make it real. You want to make a living from it. You know, you're no longer protected in that sense. How was it transiting from the school environment where you were loved and to the real world where you have to make people laugh and make money from it?
Yeah. First, I would like to say something. I would like to shift it a little. I like to shift your mind a little. First, know that you are talking from somebody like a typical Ajapako. You understand? So when you say I have transited from school, Mama, when we did school, we still dey hustle. You understand? So in fact, I was the one that trained myself in school. Remember, I lost my father when I was in secondary school. So schooling education for me was like, I wrote WAEC for like 4 times. Yes, I wrote WAEC to the extent WAEC recognized me. Anytime I register for WAEC, they send me a text message that, thank you, customer, for registering with us. We hope to see you again. You know, it was that, you know. So at the point, my name was almost in that booklet that they used to do example where you have to shade your answers and all of that.
okay.
You know? So I saw my name there. I was
Really?
like, oh, these people really
Joseph Chinedu Victor.
So you have to shade on how to shade it, you know. What am I trying to say? When I was in school, I have to do this job to pay school fees. I have to do this job to pay rent. I was also helping my family and my mother. You get it now. So there was nothing like transiting. It was just like, I don't finish school, I don't finish school. I don't get certificate, I just get certificate. So it's not like somebody was paying my school fees. I was in a hostel. I was, nah, when we get exam, you know, we begin run, you know, they check, okay, you know, you try to, so nothing like that. I was just living that life.
So now, I see that you have held a show called The Thoughts of Open Teeth.
Yes.
Want to tell us about it, and then how many of such? What else are we expecting from Open Teeth this year?
Okay, I did the third one at Muson Center, and that was before the COVID-19, and it was on the average, because of the publicity and all of that, you know, I lost something, and I could not get that that fund to run it. So, but I started when I was in church, so I have to talk to my pastor, and he allowed me, and I did the first one. It was free, and the second one was at Necker House in Ikeja, and it was a good one. Then Muson Center. But away from that, I have like 2 movies that I starred, and I'm having a movie. I had a movie 2 years ago, but we have not premiered it, you know, funds and all of that, you know. If I say fund, it's not really fund as such, but you just want this perfection and you're waiting for something and all of that. But these days, somebody's just telling you, bro, just push this thing to YouTube and just leave it there. And you're like, no, I will not push it. And before you know, you're having loss of files and all of that. You have to reshoot. But this year, there's a reality TV show that we are planning to do. We want to bring young guys into a house where they will stay for some days, and we do all the teachings and all of that, and there will be some voting, and I would just like to change like about 10 people's life. So we are planning a reality TV show this year, and there's a YouTube
so
comedy.
Long and short, we are expecting a lot from you this year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
We'll just be sure that we will keep in touch. And you will also keep in touch with us to ensure that we assist each other to do better. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yes. Thank you.
Joseph Chinedu Victor, popularly called Open Teeth. He has an open tooth. Open teeth. Thank you again for your time and all the best.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's the show today. Thank you again for the privilege of being a part of your morning.
Yes, certainly. I'm Joke Rogers.
And I'm Ayo Makinde.
On top of the hour, we have News Track.